It started on a quiet Tuesday evening, the kind of evening that feels ordinary in every way. The sun was setting behind the houses across the street, painting the sky in dull shades of orange and gray. I was standing in the kitchen, stirring a pot of soup while the smell of garlic and onions filled the air. My husband, Daniel, was sitting at the dining table scrolling through his phone. We had been married for 4 years. 4 years that I once believed were solid. Safe, built on trust. But looking back now, I realized that cracks had already started forming long before that evening. And the person who created those cracks was someone I had trusted almost as much as my own blood. My stepsister, Olivia. Olivia came into my life when I was 14, the year my father remarried. She was a year younger than me. Quiet at first, shy around strangers, but once we grew closer, she became like the sister I had never had. We shared clothes, secrets, late-night conversations about boys and dreams and the future. For years, I defended her whenever people said she was manipulative. She's just misunderstood, I would say. I believed it with all my heart. When Daniel and I got married, Olivia was there as one of my bridesmaids. She cried during the ceremony, hugged me tightly, and whispered that she was so happy I had found someone who loved me so much. Daniel always treated her kindly, too. Maybe a little too kindly. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Family is family. But about 6 months before that Tuesday evening, everything began to change. It started with small comments. Little things Olivia would say casually, like she was worried about me. One afternoon, she called me while I was at work. "Hey," she said softly. "I don't want to cause problems, but I think you should keep an eye on Daniel." My stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "I might be wrong," she said quickly. "I probably am. But yesterday, when I stopped by your house to drop off the book you lent me, Daniel was talking to a woman outside." "So?" I laughed nervously. "He looked very comfortable with her." I brushed it off. Daniel had coworkers, neighbors, friends. It didn't mean anything. But Olivia didn't stop. A week later, she texted me late at night. "Are you home?" "No," I replied. "Still at work." "You might want to check Daniel's car tomorrow," she wrote. When I asked why, she only said, "Just trust me." I tried to ignore it, but curiosity is a dangerous thing. The next morning, while Daniel was still asleep, I went outside and checked his car. There was nothing unusual, except one thing: a silver bracelet lying on the passenger seat. It definitely wasn't mine. My chest felt tight as I stared at it. When Daniel woke up, I held it up. "What's this?" He looked confused. "I don't know. Don't lie to me. I'm not lying." We argued for almost an hour that morning. He kept insisting he had never seen the bracelet before. And I kept hearing Olivia's voice in my head telling me to keep an eye on him. That was the first real fight in our marriage. And it was only the beginning. Over the next few months, Olivia continued bringing me little pieces of information. Nothing huge, just enough to make doubt grow. One time she told me she saw Daniel at a cafe with a woman who was definitely not a coworker. Another time she said she noticed him texting someone constantly while we were at a family dinner. At first, Daniel tried to defend himself calmly, but eventually he started getting frustrated. "You trust Olivia more than your own husband," he said one night. "That's not true," I insisted. "Then why do you keep accusing me?" "Because the evidence keeps showing up." "What evidence?" he shouted. "Rumors?" Our home slowly became a battlefield. Cold silences replaced laughter. Dinner conversations became short and tense, and Olivia always seemed to appear right when things were at their worst. She would sit beside me on the couch while I cried and say things like, "You deserve better," or, "If he's cheating, you shouldn't let him hurt you." She sounded supportive, protective, like a caring sister, and I believed every word. Daniel, on the other hand, started pulling away. He worked later hours, spent more time out of the house, and every time he came home late, my suspicion grew stronger. Until one night, about 3 weeks before that Tuesday evening, something happened that pushed our marriage to the edge. Olivia showed up at my apartment unexpectedly. Her face looked pale. Her hands were shaking. "I didn't want to tell you," she said, "but you deserve to know." My heart started pounding. "Know what?" She hesitated like the words were painful to say. "I saw Daniel yesterday." "Where?" "At a restaurant." "And?" "He was holding hands with a woman." The room started spinning. "Are you sure?" I whispered. "I wish I wasn't." That night when Daniel came home, I exploded. I accused him of cheating, of lying, of betraying me. He looked shocked at first, then angry, then exhausted. "I didn't cheat on you," he said quietly. "Olivia saw you. Olivia is lying." That was the moment something broke inside me, because hearing my husband call my sister a liar felt impossible to accept. "Why would she lie?" I demanded. "I don't know," he said, "but she is." The argument ended with Daniel sleeping on the couch. And from that night on, things were never the same. 3 weeks passed in cold silence. We barely spoke. Sometimes it felt like we were just two strangers living in the same house. Then came that Tuesday evening, the evening everything finally exploded. I placed 2 bowls of soup on the table and called Daniel to eat. He sat down across from me but didn't touch the food. Instead, he looked at me with an expression I had never seen before. Not anger, not sadness, something else, something determined. "We need to talk," he said. My stomach tightened. "About what?" "About Olivia." Just hearing her name made me tense. "What about her?" Daniel reached into his pocket slowly. Then he placed his phone on the table between us. "I know she's been telling you things about me," he said. "She's been warning me." I replied defensively. "No," he said quietly. "She's been lying." I crossed my arms. "You keep saying that." "Because it's true." "Then prove it." For a moment, Daniel didn't say anything. He just looked at me like he was deciding whether to cross a line that could never be uncrossed. Finally, he sighed. "I didn't want it to come to this," he said. Then he turned the phone screen toward me. "Listen to this." And when I pressed play, I heard my stepsister's voice. And within seconds, I realized that everything I thought I knew about my marriage, about my husband, and about my own family was about to collapse. I stared at the phone like it had suddenly become dangerous. Daniel didn't say anything. He just sat across from me, his hands folded together, watching my reaction. "Play it," he said quietly. My fingers felt cold as I pressed the screen. At first, there was only the sound of a cafe in the background, plates clinking, people talking softly, someone laughing in the distance. Then a familiar voice spoke. "Olivia," clear as day. "I told you it would work." Another voice answered, a woman I didn't recognize. "Are you serious? Your sister actually believed you?" Olivia laughed. A casual laugh, the kind people use when they're talking about something trivial. "She believes everything I say." My chest tightened. I looked up at Daniel, but he didn't move. "Keep listening," he said. I forced my eyes back to the screen. The recording continued. "You're terrible," the other woman said. "Relax," Olivia replied. "It's not like I'm stealing money from her." "But you are ruining her marriage." There was a pause. Then Olivia said something that made my hands start shaking. Daniel and her were too perfect. It was annoying. My breathing slowed. "Annoying? I mean seriously," she continued. "They never fought. They always looked happy. It made me sick." The other woman sounded uncomfortable. "So you decided to break them up?" Olivia sighed dramatically. "I just helped things along. By lying?" "It's not lying," she said quickly. "It's more like planting doubts." I felt the blood drain from my face. My mind started replaying everything. The bracelet, the cafe story, the late-night texts, all those little warnings. "Wait," the other woman said. "What about the bracelet thing you told me about?" Olivia laughed again. "Oh, that was easy." My heart started pounding. "What do you mean?" "I bought it myself," Olivia said casually. "Left it in his car while they were both inside the house." My stomach dropped. I could barely breathe. The bracelet. Daniel wasn't lying. The recording continued. "And she believed it?" the friend asked. "Of course she did," Olivia said. "All I had to do was suggest it might belong to another woman." My hands were trembling now. I paused the recording. The room felt too small. "You recorded her?" I asked Daniel. He nodded slowly. "A coworker of mine saw Olivia at that cafe," he said. "She overheard part of the conversation and called me. I went there and sat 2 tables behind them." My voice came out weak. "How long have you known?" 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks while I kept accusing him, while I pushed him away, while our marriage was collapsing. I pressed play again, even though part of me didn't want to hear anymore. The friend asked, "But why go that far? I mean, she's your sister." "Stepsister," Olivia corrected immediately. "Still family." Olivia was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that felt like a knife sliding into my chest. "She always had everything." "What do you mean?" "Growing up," Olivia said, "everyone liked her more." I blinked in confusion. She was prettier, smarter, teachers loved her, my mom always compared me to her. Her voice carried a bitterness I had never noticed before. Then she got Daniel, Olivia continued. What's wrong with that? You don't get it, she said. Daniel is exactly the kind of guy I always wanted. My heart stopped. You liked him? The friend asked. Liked him? Olivia scoffed. I loved him. The word echoed in my head. Loved him. But he chose her. My chest felt like it was being crushed. From the moment they started dating, Olivia continued, I knew it should have been me. The friend sounded shocked. So you tried to destroy their marriage? I didn't plan all of it at first, Olivia said. But once I realized how easy it was to make her doubt him, I couldn't stop. My eyes blurred. I remembered every fight Daniel and I had, every accusation, every cold night. She trusts me more than him, Olivia said proudly in the recording. That's the best closed, because it was true. The recording went on. What about the story where you said you saw him holding hands with another woman? The friend asked. Olivia chuckled. That was just a random couple across the street. You're kidding? Nope. And the texting thing at dinner? I texted him first, Olivia said. Then I told my sister he was hiding something. The room felt like it was spinning. Every memory was changing. Every moment I thought meant something, meant nothing. Finally, the friend asked the question I was afraid of. So what's the end goal here? Olivia didn't answer immediately. Then she said quietly, if their marriage falls apart, maybe Daniel will finally notice me. The recording ended. Silence filled the room. I stared at the phone, unable to move, unable to speak. Daniel finally broke the silence. I didn't show you this right away because I hoped you'd figure it out yourself. My voice came out barely above a whisper. You knew she was lying, and you still stayed? He looked tired. I stayed because I love you. Those words hurt more than anything else I had heard that night, because suddenly I realized how badly I had failed him. How many times did you ask me to trust you? He continued softly. I couldn't answer. Too many times. And every time he said, you chose her. Tears finally started running down my face. I'm sorry, I whispered. But the words felt small, useless. I thought I knew her, I said. Daniel leaned back in his chair. That's the problem, he said quietly. You didn't really know either of us anymore. My chest tightened. Can we fix this? I asked desperately. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked down at the table. Then he said something that made my stomach twist. There's more. My head lifted. More? Daniel nodded. I only showed you part of the recording. A cold wave ran through me. What else did she say? He hesitated like he didn't want to say it. Daniel, I whispered. He took a deep breath. The part I didn't play, he said slowly, is where she talks about the night she came to our house 2 months ago. My mind searched for the memory. 2 months ago. Olivia came over for dinner. Everything seemed normal. What about it? I asked. Daniel's jaw tightened. She told her friend something about that night. My heart started racing. What? He looked directly into my eyes, and the way he said the next sentence made my blood run cold. She said that night, she tried to kiss me. The words hit me like a shockwave. What? I pushed her away, he said immediately. But she told her friend she almost succeeded. I couldn't process what I was hearing. She tried to kiss you? Daniel nodded slowly. And when I rejected her, that's when the lies got worse. Suddenly everything made a terrifying kind of sense. The sudden accusations, the constant rumors, the pressure she put on my mind. She wasn't just jealous. She was angry. Angry that Daniel rejected her. My breathing became uneven. She wanted revenge, I whispered. Daniel didn't say anything, but the silence confirmed it. I wiped my face with shaking hands. We have to confront her, I said. Daniel looked uncertain. Are you sure you're ready for that? I need to hear it from her. My voice was trembling now, but I forced the words out. I need to know why she hated me that much. Daniel studied my face, then he nodded slowly. Okay. He picked up his phone and unlocked it. What are you doing? I asked. I'm calling her. My heart jumped into my throat. You're calling her now? Yes. The phone started ringing once, twice, 3 times. Then her voice answered. Hey, Daniel, Olivia said cheerfully. What's up? My hands curled into fists. She sounded so normal, so calm, like she hadn't just destroyed my marriage piece by piece. Daniel glanced at me before speaking. Olivia, he said evenly, we need to talk. About what? About the lies. There was a brief pause, then she laughed lightly. I have no idea what you're talking about. Daniel pressed the phone's speaker button, so I could hear every word. Then maybe you should come over, he said. Why? So we can play a recording. The silence on the other end of the line was instant, heavy. Then Olivia's voice changed. What recording? Daniel didn't answer. Instead, he said calmly, you have 20 minutes. And then he ended the call. I stared at him, my heart racing. You think she'll come? Daniel looked toward the door. Oh, he said quietly. She'll come. And for the first time that night, I realized that whatever happened next, there was a very real chance our marriage would never survive the truth. I sat on the couch, staring at the door. Every second felt heavier than the last. Daniel stood by the window, arms folded, looking outside like he was trying to prepare himself for what was coming. My mind was racing. Images from childhood kept flashing through my head. Olivia and I sharing a bedroom when we were younger, borrowing each other's clothes, watching movies late at night, crying to each other about school and friendships and life. I had trusted her more than anyone, and now, everything felt fake. The sound of tires outside snapped me back to reality. Daniel glanced through the curtain. She's here. My stomach twisted. I suddenly wasn't sure if I wanted this confrontation anymore, but it was too late. A moment later, the doorbell rang. Once, then again. Daniel walked to the door and opened it. Olivia stepped inside like she owned the place. Her eyes moved between us quickly. At first, she looked confident. Then she noticed the tension in the room. What's going on? She asked slowly. Her gaze landed on me. Why are you crying? I didn't answer. Daniel closed the door behind her. You know why you're here, he said calmly. Olivia crossed her arms. No, actually I don't. Daniel held up his phone. This. Her expression flickered. Just for a moment, but I saw it. Fear. What is that? She asked. A recording. Silence filled the room. Olivia forced a laugh. You recorded me? No, Daniel replied. I just happened to be in the same cafe while you were talking. Her face went pale. I watched the confidence slowly drain from her. You heard that? She asked quietly. Daniel didn't respond. Instead, he pressed play. Her own voice filled the room. I bought it myself, left it in his car. Olivia's eyes widened. Daniel paused the recording. That's enough, she said quickly. No, I said. My voice was shaking, but I forced myself to speak. We're going to hear all of it. I pressed play again. Her laughter echoed through the living room. Daniel is exactly the kind of guy I always wanted. She took a step backward. You don't understand, she said quickly. Then explain, Daniel replied. The recording ended. The silence afterward felt suffocating. Olivia looked at me. Not guilty, not sorry, just irritated. You actually believe that? She asked. My chest tightened. You said it. That was out of context. Daniel let out a small laugh. Out of context? Olivia turned toward him, her expression hardening. You shouldn't have been spying on me. Spying? He repeated. You invaded my privacy. I felt something inside me snap. Privacy? I said. You spent months destroying my marriage. She rolled her eyes. Oh, please. The coldness in her voice shocked me. You two were already falling apart, she said. I just helped speed things up. Daniel stared at her like he was looking at a stranger. You lied about me cheating. Olivia shrugged. Well, technically, I didn't say you cheated. You planted evidence. That bracelet thing? She said. That was clever, wasn't it? My hands started shaking. You're proud of that? Honestly, she said. A little. The room felt like it was closing in. Why? I asked. My voice cracked. Why would you do this to me? Olivia looked at me like the answer was obvious. Because you always win. The words stunned me. What are you talking about? She laughed bitterly. Growing up, you had everything. That's not true. Yes, it is, she snapped. Teachers loved you. Mom adored you. Everyone thought you were perfect. Her voice was rising now. And then Daniel came along. She looked directly at him. You were supposed to notice me first. Daniel's face hardened. I never gave you that impression. You didn't have to, she said. I just knew. You imagined it, he replied. Her jaw tightened. I loved you, she said. Daniel shook his head slowly. You loved the idea of me. The words hit her like a slap. So you rejected me, she said quietly, and suddenly my perfect sister gets the perfect life. I stepped forward. You tried to kiss him? Her eyes flickered toward me. So he told you. Daniel answered instead. You crossed a line. Olivia scoffed. You act like you didn't enjoy the attention. Daniel's voice turned cold. That never happened. For the first time, she looked slightly uncomfortable. But it only lasted a second. You're both overreacting, she said. It's not like anyone died. I felt something inside my chest break. You ruined my marriage. Olivia shrugged. If your marriage was that strong, my words wouldn't have mattered. Daniel spoke quietly. They mattered because she trusted you. Olivia looked at me again. And that's not my fault. The lack of remorse was horrifying. I suddenly realized something painful. This wasn't the sister I thought I knew. Maybe she never existed. You know what hurts the most? I said softly. She raised an eyebrow. What? I defended you every time Daniel doubted you. She smiled faintly. See, that's exactly why it worked. Daniel closed his eyes briefly, like he was exhausted. Olivia, he said slowly, you need to leave. She laughed. What, that's it? You're not welcome here anymore. She looked at me. Are you really choosing him over me? I stared back at her. For the first time in my life, I saw her clearly. You stopped being my sister the moment you decided to destroy my life. Her smile faded. Fine, she said coldly. She walked toward the door, then she stopped and turned back. You know what's funny? She said. What? Daniel asked. You still won't survive this. A chill ran down my spine. What does that mean? I asked. Olivia smirked. You think hearing the truth fixes everything? She gestured between us. The damage is already done. Neither of us answered, and deep down, I knew she wasn't completely wrong. She opened the door, but before leaving, she looked directly at Daniel. You'll get tired of her eventually, she said. You always do. Daniel didn't react. He simply closed the door behind her. The silence afterward felt overwhelming. I sank into the couch, covering my face. I'm so sorry, I whispered. Daniel didn't respond right away. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet. I know you are. I looked up at him. Can we fix this? The question hung in the air. He walked slowly across the room and sat in the chair across from me. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then he said something that made my heart ache. I don't know. Tears filled my eyes again. I want to try, I said. Daniel looked down at his hands. So do I. Hope flickered inside my chest. But then he added something else. Trying doesn't mean it will work. I nodded slowly. I understand. Another long silence passed. Finally, Daniel looked at me. For months, he said, I felt like I was losing you. My throat tightened. You were. I kept thinking if I just waited long enough, you'd remember who I was. A tear slid down my cheek. I do now. He gave a sad smile. But now I don't know if I can forget everything that happened. The words hurt. But I couldn't blame him. Trust had been broken, not by cheating, not by betrayal, but by doubt. And doubt can be just as destructive. Then we rebuild, I said quietly, slowly. Daniel studied my face, like he was trying to decide if he believed me. Finally, he nodded once, slowly. That night we sat together in silence, not as the perfect couple we once were, not as enemies, but as two people standing in the wreckage of something that used to be beautiful, and trying to decide if it was worth saving.